Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are we're waiting for Mike, but he did say he was going to be here. He just said he was getting ready.
We're talking about TikToks. Chad,
we are
what's your favorite TikTok?
We're talking about TikToks. Yeah. Let's see here.
The 2021 favorite TikTok. I also like the sound. What the dog doing? Like that sound.
That's a good sound. Yeah.
Yeah. What the dog doing? When people is like doing random shit and then there's a dog like sitting on top of the fridge for some reason.
Right. Of course.
And it's like, what the dog doing? Pretty good. TikTok is I don't know. I was like, I want to download this ironically.
Yeah.
Just to hate on it.
Sorry, everybody.
And oh shit, what happened?
I actually started playing sound audio.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I like TikTok. I end up liking TikTok. That's like cool.
You know, the thing about TikTok that is good. Yeah, the thing that's good about TikTok is its algorithm is very much all about like showing you stuff that you like instead of stuff that necessarily would make you mad. Now, there's definitely some stuff that you will end up trying to be like
oh yeah,
like they definitely try to play on your brain's weaknesses. Like eventually they will just start showing me mostly clothesless people. And I'm like, oh no, I can't go down this rabbit hole because then my TikTok will become all that. So you have to consciously fight against that, unless that's what you're all about. But I'm like, personally, I'd rather TikTok not be another yet another avenue for pornography. Yeah, I don't need yet another app to serve me up pornos. You know, even though they don't allow that stuff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll just keep following these ADHD content creators who are better than my doctor at explaining what's wrong with me. And I'm like, I gotta just keep going down that route. But it's definitely like it's a sieve for dopamine, more so than a lot of other sites.
It's a drugs.
Yes, hello. It is. Hey, Mike Minotti's here.
Mike.
Hi, I'm just finishing up getting the list together.
Yeah, no
What's
worries.
your favorite TikTok, Mike?
I don't like TikTok. I feel like I'm too. It doesn't make me feel old. I know I am too old for it, and that doesn't bother me. But I don't need to watch it.
I thought the same until like I got.
By the end of 2022, Mike will be one of the top TikTok creators in the world. That's guaranteed right now. Guarantee that right this second.
There's a lot of old people like very famous.
Oh yeah.
My brothers love TikTok. They always send me TikToks, and I just don't even open them anymore. For one thing, I don't like clicking these links and like takes forever for the thing to load, and then for some reason it always like starts playing a different TikTok for like 2 seconds first. Then it plays the one they want. It's usually I don't like it.
Phone was ringing.
Yeah. I'm being a fumpy dump about TikTok. I know, it's shocking.
Eventually, it's gonna get you.
We'll see. That's what
gonna happen.
That's what my brother said a year ago. That's a funny
what
question
the dog doing?
Jaden this week. That's a good one, Jaden. This is gonna be fun when we read this on the air. Oh.
Final Fantasy 14 TikTok influencer Mike Minotti. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. Yes, without a doubt.
You're lucky I'm here and not playing the new patch stuff right now.
Oh my god.
Oh shit. Well, it's like 6.05
well,
or
Mikey,
whatever.
You're lucky I'm here and not watching CES where they announced new computer chips.
You don't want to do that.
CES
I mean, I
is
kind of
so
do.
boring.
No one can get the current computer chips.
What?
You can.
I mean, they send them to me, so yes, I do. What are you talking about?
Oh wow, the flex.
Wow.
I don't know, man.
Look, I won my fantasy football league. You're all going to have to start treating me with some respect.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a fantasy critic thing going on the
right.
on the Discord. If you're a cool kid though, you gotta be either Patreon or Twitch subscriber.
Yeah, it's pretty full, huh? So we're doing 2 leagues. I'm kind of letting Benji decide all that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Benji Bob is running on that stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
thank you, Benji.
Yes, there's 2 leagues. I wonder if I'm not in Jeff's league.
Yeah, I wonder. You know, I don't know. I mean, you would lose anyhow, so I guess we could just assume that.
Well, if we both win our leagues, we'll fight to the death. How about that?
All right, that's fair. I mean, we were going to do that anyhow. I mean, eventually.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of responses and things this week. It's good.
A lot of long responses.
It's all right.
What is even the topic? I don't even know.
What's your Nintendo resolution?
Oh, all right. Oh, it's right on the title. You're right.
I just got 2 more to put in here.
I don't pay attention.
All right, and well, Let's see. What's our topic gonna
What
be?
the dog
Next?
doing?
What's our trip gonna be next week? Did I ever ask people what their most disappointing Nintendo game was?
What's the? I
Have I
mean,
ever done that?
Bowser's Fury.
I'm not
I don't
asking
think so.
for answers. That's funny. That's funny. I see what you did there now. You're a funny guy. Bowser's Fury. You're a funny guy. Yeah, I don't think so.
I wanted to play Halo last night, but my internet was.
Yeah, they started saying Ti recently. Yeah, instead of Ti, and it is weird. I feel like early on it was definitely Ti, but I mean it is capital T lowercase I. But still, I think it's a bad. Ti sounds cooler than Ti.
Sounds like hardware. TI.
Yes.
Sounds like
Do you think that was
3000? You know.
Do you think there was like
That's-
trademark issues with Ti the rapper?
Oh yeah.
I bet that's what it was.
That's a guy.
for
Yeah, that's a human.
things.
That person's real. I know that.
Yes, he was in
That
a
is
Marvel
the
movie,
name.
which is the realest thing you can do.
That is the
Unlike
name
this-
of a person.
Oh God, I hope that was Ti. I don't want to mix him up
Unlike
with another
these
person.
graphic cards,
Yes, I'm pretty sure that was Ti.
these graphic cards are all a lie. I never saw one. Like, this might be all like a Ponzi scheme.
3070 Ti, 3090 Ti. That stuff's yeah,
Ti.
probably still gonna be pretty hard to get.
Saying Ti? No, I don't want that.
Yeah, we can start. Let's just keep saying Ti. They're gonna do the laptops too, though. That's cool. The I think 3080 Ti is gonna be on laptops for like $2,500, but still,
What?
I mean that's how much I paid for my Razer a couple years ago. That
gonna
had
be
a
a toasty
3070 in it. What's that?
It's gonna be a toasty laptop.
Yeah, yes it is. But I mean,
It's gonna be like shit.
Hey,
Yeah,
don't you get going, Penny.
it's gonna depend on like the cooling of the laptop.
Yeah, they're making cool looking laptops now. They used to be look like a fucking Ferrari, and it was like, what is people even doing?
Yeah, very insecure looking laptops, like compensation. Yeah.
I mean, lots of like lights and shit. Oh, come on, man.
Yep, 3050 is coming.
3050.
Yeah, and that's it's pretty good for $250. I mean, it's definitely more
like a
expensive than something like that
2070.
would have been a few years ago. But it's pretty good.
I like when they do they compare them to the older.
Yes.
It's cute. It's like, oh, the 3050 is like a 2070 and a little bit more.
Well, I mean, they are trying to get people off of like GTX like really bad because people have been on GTX. I mean, GTX the 10
except
series
from
was so
10,
good
yeah.
that everyone just stuck with that for way longer than they had in the past.
Isn't like most of the people had like a 1070 some shit like that in Steam.
1060s and
1060s,
1070s, yeah. And then like the 1080 Ti was really popular for a Ti model.
Hey, I'm ready.
Okay. I was
Okay.
waiting on you.
I said I was ready like 5 minutes ago. No one.
I'm
Let's just
sorry.
keep talking about computer instead.
Wow.
Our TikToks, you're like
The
TikTok.
one time
yeah.
you're not loud. All right, I see.
Yeah, have fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later, Christian. Okay. Where are we at? I need to hit record. I need to
I
make
don't
sure I'm
like
on the
being
wrong
ignored.
thing.
My camera is turned on.
Hey,
All right. That
Hey.
looked like it was good.
hey,
Hey,
All right, Mike. I'm ready. You good?
hey. That's my toad. Hey. Yeah, I'm good. Oh, I'm good.
All right. You know what? I should turn on the video. You're not good. Where's your camera? Your camera probably is here, isn't it?
I
No.
thought I turned it on.
You did.
Yeah,
I just
you
messed
did.
up.
How about that? How about that? those
It is a little bit a little weighted on Mike's side. Let's move it over like this, and then move it over like this. That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm counting down. I am hitting the music, and we're going. 5, 4, 3.
hey, you guys hear me? Start cheering now! Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
Woof woof. Hi, I'm Mike Minotti, and I am a Nintendog.
Hi, I'm Jeff Grubb, and I am a Nintendog.
and we are the last of the Nintendogs. Jeff, that little pause there scared me.
Yeah, it should have. I was tuned out because I was still very much enjoying that you've bolded woof woof here at the top, so you don't miss it anymore.
That's
and
right, yes.
I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. That's funny. And then you finished your sentence, and I wasn't ready. I'll be honest,
Good.
I wasn't.
Well, I'm glad you were distracted by the tiniest of things.
Yeah, well, hey, what can I say?
Welcome to the show. This week, we're talking about our Nintendo New Year's resolutions. Something's going on with GoldenEye, and also Square Enix's boss loves NFTs. We're going to be getting into all that, but Jeff, first, Happy New Year. Did you have a nice New Year's weekend?
Yeah, it was fun. I played Mario Party Superstars on twitch.tv/Jeff Grubb. I played with some of the mods and stuff from the Discord, and we had a good time. It was a fun way to hang out on New Year's Eve with the young kids. I just put them to bed and didn't even try to keep them up for New Year's because they don't fully understand the concept yet. They think every day is a holiday, so I'm like, they could take a break from this one.
Is that why you were all screaming at me to stop playing Metroid Dread and get in Discord or something when I wasn't playing Metroid Dread?
I never said get in Discord because I knew you were in a cabin being weird.
I was in a cabin. Oh, it got weird.
It got very weird, of course. Why else go to a cabin? Yeah. But we were live on Twitch and an icon that just said Mike, which I think your name on Twitch is actually Tokoto, right?
Yeah, so probably a different mic. I know there aren't many mics out there.
But this mic was bald. There was a me. And it was bald and it had a beard, and it was a white person, and it was a man. And I'm like, and it said Metroid Dread. I'm like, is Mike in the cabin just booting up Metroid Dread for the new year? I mean, that almost makes sense. I mean, that sounds like a good time to me.
It's not outside the realm of possibility. Although my profile picture would never be my me.
Okay, all right. Well, now we know that about you. Okay,
me
fair
at
enough.
First. I'm still over the me's.
Wow, he's anti-me. Wow,
very anti-me.
But then, yeah, it was a good time. It was good. I had a good night, and then so far this year, it's like, oh man, it's already January 4th. The year's already flying by again, almost. It's kind of what it feels like. It's like, hey, it's still January 1st, right? Nope, hasn't been that for several days now.
Yeah, I know. So like, man, I can't believe it just became January. I had to put up my new calendar still, and nope.
Yep.
Here we go. All right, Jeff, we got plenty to talk about this week. Let's get into it.
Sounds good.
Why don't we start with the Square Enix CEO's absolutely crazy letter?
Yes, please.
About NFTs and blockchain. And again, I know it's like part of me is like, man, we have to talk about NFTs and blockchains? And it's like, well, everyone else says, like the CEO of Square Enix says, his name's Yosuke Matsuda, by the way. He it was the weirdest thing ever because it's like, why write a New Year's Eve letter, right? Normally that would be nothing but just like PR bullshit, like saying, thank you for playing our games, blah, blah, blah. But this was like a call to action or something like that. I wonder, it almost just felt like the same energy everybody was doing during their last earnings reports where they were just talking about NFTs and blockchain a lot to get their investors happy. But with a lot of that, you can kind of tell like their hearts weren't into it and they were just saying it literally because they want to make their investors happy. It seems like Matsuda is a convert. Matsuda is really into blockchain NFTs. He's a believer. Jeff.
Yeah, he definitely has like a son who's into crypto and over the holidays was like telling him all about it, and then he's like, well, I gotta do something about this. My son knows all about it, so that's kind of what it feels like to me. I mean, he said some real crazy stuff in this letter, though. I mean, or at least the phrasing is often embarrassing, is how I would put it.
Yeah, there's the big moment is when he's like, now I know most people play games to have fun, right? Or play to have fun.
An insane thing to say in any context.
Play to have fun, like the same way people like play to earn or play to contribute is like the thing he invented. Like, I don't know, maybe that's a new buzz one. People are saying play to contribute instead of play to earn because people rightfully criticize play to earn as being ridiculous and stupid. So now it's play to contribute, I guess. Yeah, it's weird. And even with the thing, like he basically is like, yeah, wow, this is great because we can get our users to make content for our games for us, and they'll have these long lifespans. It's like, man, your games already can have long lifespans when they're good, right?
Well, when they're good,
that does happen.
And user-generated content where people earn money from that stuff has existed since 2006 with Roblox. Yes. Minecraft has a huge ecosystem of content created by its users. It has a whole marketplace, and that it is now a platform based on that. What the fuck is he talking about? Why do we need NFTs for this?
Blockchain.
It just makes him seem very stupid, actually. Well, that's the only thing he's accomplishing here.
Are you saying the guy who greenlit Balan's Wonderworld and The Quiet Man could be stupid?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to lay that at his feet. You know what? I think I'm ready to call that person stupid. Now, the Nick Turbo, very helpfully in the chat, of course, being pedantic, is saying that he's president and not CEO. But I'm pretty sure in Japanese companies, the president, it kind of has that same position that we think of as CEO. So,
yeah, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, is he the one making these decisions? I do think often that he is. But I mean, either way, like this, it just seems very like out of touch, of course. And he even like acknowledges, like, yeah, I know people are going to be mad about this. And it's okay. Well, then what's your plan to make them not mad?
Yeah,
well, there's none of that. None of that's there. It's just, this is going to make us a lot of money, guys.
I do love that new thing. It's like, well, now we know everybody's going to be mad and hates it, but here's why we're going to do it. And not only do it, but talk about it a lot anyway. So, yeah, it's just weird. And we talk about how it just feels like people are living in two completely different worlds with these things, with, the business types and the speculators and some of the tech bros who are just super excited into the stuff and have made it their like identity, and they have their, monkey NFT avatars. And then what seems like everybody else who's just like, what the fuck?
Yep. Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say that it's like, and it's really funny because even like the NFT bros now at this point are fully admitting that this stuff doesn't do anything new, but they are like, but it might. that's their whole argument now.
Cool.
And it's like, and you're gonna look pretty stupid if it does. It's like their position. And it's like, okay, honey, all right, whatever you say there. But the fact that it's filtered up to these top level executives, and that they are not just like, now that this is not an example of someone just saying to their investors, hey, we're going for this. You're right. He does seem like a true convert. So what is happening here? Someone has definitely shown them the math to how much money this can make them. And it's all working backward from there. And they're sort of being like, consequences be damned. Now, you could do that with a lot of things. You could do that with selling heroin. But it's like, you should probably consider the consequences of the things you're doing alongside the potential to make money. And it doesn't seem like that's happening here at all.
No, like this could, go south. I mean, they're not going to be stupid enough to just straight up try to put NFTs into Final Fantasy 14, are they? They're not going to be that volatile and crazy with this stuff. Like, I assume there's going to be some weird new like NFT Final Fantasy game where it's basically like a gacha game, right? Like Galaxy of Heroes kind of shit, but now with NFTs or something. I don't know. I guess that's my big question. Are they going to ruin Final Fantasy 14 for me?
Yes.
No, I don't think they can. I think they might.
Think that
they announce one, there will be so much of a backlash that they will have to backwalk that if they ever announce one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to like shoot that golden goose, right? So, I
at the same time, it's the one that's the one where all your players are, right? And if
right, and it's also like
see the NFT, it's also your
huge
one online
potential for in-game economies and for like, these people are already creating their own stories. They're already creating their own relationships, and they have ownership over all these things. Why not let them create content that they can then have ownership of and then sell to other people? It all just sort of lines up, right? I think that it's Yoshi P, right? Yoshi P.
Yoshi P is the guy in charge of Final Fantasy 14. And
my hunch here would be that Yoshi P is very reverent towards the relationship between the players in this game, and that he would likely be very mindful of what something like NFTs could do to that relationship, and would put a stop to it if he's able. If he's not, like, if he's in a position where, and he should be, because of where the position of this game is, he should have like all the leeway in the world to decide what's best for this game. But if for some reason he doesn't, I mean, if they're gonna do NFTs anywhere, I do think they would do it in Final Fantasy 14.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's scary. They probably would do it first. Again, they would do like what Ubisoft did and try to do it in like, so what would Square Enix's Ghost Recon be right now, right? It would be Avengers. They would try to do it in Avengers.
Yeah, Avengers. Like yes, there you go.
So, I don't know. But, remember the WoW token? Remember World of Warcraft introduced that token like a while ago, where that gold could be turned into money and vice versa? Yeah, everyone regrets that. That wasn't good. They can't get rid of it now. It's like, once that genie is let out of the bottle. Last question about this. I mean, is there a chance that this is just like with that time they got into cloud streaming and they just created a vision and pour millions of dollars into it for a few years and then close it with no results?
Yeah, didn't they call that Shinra?
They called it Shinra.
They should have saved that for this. They should have saved Shinra for this, destroying the Earth to make money. It is probably a lot like that. You're probably right. This is to pull off NFTs as a major existing game company, you have to be very savvy. And Mike, there's one word I would never use to describe Square Enix, and that is savvy, at least not right now. So I do think this is probably going to crash and burn, and they will just bury it in the backyard like Shenra. Yeah.
Remember when they published the first new Hitman game, which actually did like have avenues for user-generated content and stuff
was like the perfect example of like what a modern AAA live service game could be, and it's like the model of like what the future was going to be. And they're like, well, we don't know what to do with this. Yep, I remember. And then
it's gonna be interesting to see. I wonder if there's like I wonder if like the president of Square Enix right now is like, wow, that went over really well. Everybody really enjoyed that letter. Or do you think he has any idea? It's like, who knows? Who knows?
Listen, I mean, we know for a fact that you could find the audience that would be very interested in hearing that letter. And we have events where we find that audience, and Dean writes to that audience all the time. And they could be very insulated, and they can be very good at like keeping criticism out. So I would imagine that he probably has some people around him that are saying, you did awesome, great job, let's go play racquetball or whatever. And that's the day. But if he probably talks to the people that he would have to talk to then implement this stuff, game developers know that this is a bad idea. So many people that actually do the creating of the games, creating of the content, that implement the systems, they are fully aware that this is a bad idea. And so once he gets to having those conversations, it'll likely be more difficult at that point.
Yeah, I can't really verify this, but Radu said in our chat that their stock went up like 6% after that letter. He adds, "We're all doomed." But like, yeah, I mean, again, maybe that's the real motivation for doing this, because stock speculators love it, because it's just
it's something they fully understand
about adding speculation to the actual games. Like, of course they love it. They're all about it.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Please. Jeff, there's a lot of rumors and stuff going on about GoldenEye this week. You want to talk about that a bit?
I do. So GoldenEye remaster was in the works about 13 years ago. In the late 2000s, it was in the works at Rare, and it was a collaboration between Nintendo and Rare and Microsoft and MGM, and everyone was on board.
Would have been for 360.
This would have been for the 360, correct? It was a 360 game. Rare finished it. Basically, it was a game that was ready to go, and in the weeks before launch, Nintendo pulled out. And the reasoning that it's the understood reasoning, according to people who are familiar with it, is that Nintendo was like, well, this should only be on a Nintendo system. And it's like, well, they could have told everybody that before, but they waited until the last minute, and the project just got shelved and never came out. It did leak early last year, but that's the only time we've ever seen it since. Now, there are achievements. There's a list of achievements, 1,000 achievement points on some achievement tracking sites, and it's for GoldenEye 007 Remaster. And there's two people who have the achievements right now. And when you look at those two people, they're two people who work at Rare Limited in the UK. So it's like, okay, so this seems like something's happening there. There's also some screenshots that came out. But beyond that, like, I would say the circumstantial evidence for this happening is very, very compelling, because when Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack got announced with Nintendo 64 games, and when the rumor was that was going to come, there was a debate about, are Rare games going to be there? And I was like on the fence, but I'm like, there's a good chance they won't be, because Nintendo and Microsoft, while they are very friendly, they've had some sticking points about this stuff in the past, and the GoldenEye remaster is one thing I was thinking of. But when they announced it, they said Rare games are coming. We got Banjo-Kazooie. I think they said there's a few other ones coming. I think they're Diddy Kong Racing, I think, is one.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so basically they made a deal. And when they did that, it was very clear to me that the bargaining chip that Microsoft used there was, hey, absolutely, let's make this happen. We want to have a good relationship. But also, come on, let us put GoldenEye 007 Remaster out on the Xbox. And I think that's what happened here. And so it's not surprising at all that this is happening. And then at the same time, I do think GoldenEye 007, the ROM for N64, will come on the expansion pack.
All right, that was my question. Like, so what GoldenEye thing should we expect on Switch? Should it be this remastered version, or should it just be the original on Nintendo Switch Online?
I think the ROM will show up on the expansion pack for sure. I don't know if this remaster will come to Switch, but I mean, Nintendo was a part of it originally, and then there's no reason that I really don't see why they would say no. I just don't know how they release it on the Switch? Do you just sell it and then say, okay, well, yeah, we have the original version on the expansion pack, and then but you could also buy this remaster, or do they make like the remaster part of the expansion pack, like and something like that? It's a weird thing just because of their business model, but it's in some combination it'll come to Switch in some form.
Yeah. Man, I'm pretty interested in this. I kind of historically have always been down on GoldenEye, so I'd be very interested to play it again. It has been a very long time since I have done so, so maybe I'd appreciate it without those 1997 eyes looking at it now.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be. I think your assessment probably won't change all that much. I think that it's going to be a novelty for most people who weren't there, and even most people that were there will be like, man, it was, you had to be there kind of thing, and I still kind of have to be in that zone. But it'll be fun for a couple of weeks to just go back and play with friends, to have a couple of game nights playing GoldenEye. That was my youth, was playing GoldenEye and Mario Kart and Smash Brothers all the time with my friends. GoldenEye was definitely the biggest part of that. It was fantastic at the time. But I do think that it's not something that's going to be like, at the end of the year, this is still going to be like one of the most played online multiplayer games. It'll have its day in the sun. It'll the analogy I used in my article about it is, it's going to be like when an old wrestler runs out at Royal Rumble, right? There'll be people be like, man, it's back. This is awesome. I mean, I love that back in the day. And they'll come and they'll make a splash right away at the Royal Rumble sort of thing. But by the time, E3 comes, so the gaming's WrestleMania, people will be like, okay, well, what's next? Yeah, that was cool that happened, but that's not really, it's not going to have staying power. It's not going to be the defining thing of the rest of the Xbox year. And it doesn't need to be. It kind of just needs to be this fun little distraction. So
got to get a pop. I mean, it's like that one Sony E3 where we got a lot of things in that, like Shenmue 3. The pop that it got from that press conference was more valuable than the actual game itself by a mile.
Yes, absolutely, and there's kind of nothing wrong with that, because buying into the fiction of the future of your system is a big part of justifying these expenses to yourself and make you feel good about investing in these things, and that is a very tough line for these companies to walk. It's a very tough thing for them to manufacture that good sentiment, and any little thing that goes in that positive, that pro column, is a win for them. So they'll take this, and I think, and then some people will really enjoy going back to play GoldenEye, and then that's great.
Let's move on here, Jeff. So IGN has put out a list of the top 100 games of all time as determined by their staff. Number 1 on this list is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Do you think that's right? Do you think there's some recency bias there?
I don't think that's a recency bias, and I think that's fair. I think that it's the thing about Breath of the Wild that I've always said is it's the ideal sort of form of the original Zelda, and so it's like of the Zelda for the NES, and so it's like it still has that like timeless quality of feeling like it's always been with us, and then yet at the same time there are so many things that it does new and exciting and influentially that it's already so like one of the biggest signposts of, like, if you're trying to make a game feel new and modern and exciting, well, look at what Breath of the Wild did and just kind of do that. And the reason for that is because it's great. It's fantastic. I think it's just, even if it's not everyone's favorite game, I do think it is almost objectively, even though it's not really possible, almost objectively Nintendo's best made game. It's the one where they had the most ideas that they executed on in the most pristine way possible, and it's deserving of a number 1 spot.
Do you think whenever Breath of the Wild 2 comes out that it's going to have the best first month launch sales of any Nintendo game ever? Is that possible?
First month, I think that's possible. I mean, maybe Animal Crossing New Horizons had a very good first month, right? Was that probably number 1 now? I'd have to go look. Maybe we can at Matt Piscatella here pretty soon and ask him about that. But I think it has a chance because the excitement, there's so many people who bought the Switch, bought it for Zelda. So many people who bought a Switch for their family ended up getting Zelda and really enjoying it. And then there's going to be this audience. It's like, well, I missed the first Zelda. I am going to show up for this one on day 1. I think it has a very good chance of being one of the best first month sales for a Nintendo game ever. Yeah.
There's some other Nintendo games on this list. Number 2 is a Nintendo game. Super Mario World is the second best game of all time. That's very good. It would not be my number 2.
Yeah, we know you hate 2D Mario.
I don't hate. This is definitely
I hate old games. We all know how much you hate retro games.
Yeah. And then number 4 is Link to the Past. Number 5, Super Metroid. I would put Super Metroid, I think, above Link to the Past and Mario. In fact, I think one time, I forget, it was IGN, somebody did one of these lists and Super Metroid's number one. It often
Yes,
is. I think
EGM, an early top 100 from EGM had Super Metroid at number one, and that was like the early moment when Super Metroid started coming back to prominence, where it was like, oh,
you're right.
We all need to go back and play this. A lot of us missed it. We need to go back and play it. So yeah.
7, Super Mario 64, and then let's do one more. 11 is Super Mario Brothers 3. So let's go see if they have anything else in the next 20 here. Actually, no, they're not in the rest of the top 20. The next one's 21, Super Mario Brothers 1. So check that out. That's at IGN right now. Their list of the top 100 games of all times. All right, all of the times. One of my Pepe from the Muppets now. Jeff, Shin Megami Tensei 5 has sold 800,000 copies since launch. It has become the best-selling Shin Megami Tensei game ever. That's not counting Persona. Tensei. Each time I'm like trying to say Rainbow Tensei in my head each time. In under 2 months. So yeah, the Switch effect is real and is happening for SMT 5. I'm just gonna call it SMT 5. Not really a big surprise here, but nice to see.
Yeah, and it's obviously it's gonna do well in Japan. And then it's doing well elsewhere. 800,000 copies is very good for this game. I mean, it's not Persona numbers, but it's actually not that far off of Persona numbers either.
Be that crazy far. Yeah, this is going to sell 1 million copies at some point here, which is pretty great for SMT5.
Right, and I think a few months ago, maybe it was last year, by now, like 12 months ago or something like that, I wrote about like Persona 5 or Persona series sales, and it like across all the games, it was at something like 3 million-ish or 4 million-ish or something like that. So it's like, yeah, this is in that range, and it's very good for any sort of RPG at this point.
Yeah, so if you like, SMT, don't worry, there are going to be more of those.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Lego, they've done those Mario sets, so now they've announced the Luigi's Mansion set. You interested in that?
I didn't know this.
Yeah, this kind of went under the radar too. I just noticed this looking for the stuff here, but yeah, and it looks like the other things with like the LED eyes, and like it's kind of a game. But yeah, it's Luigi's Mansion themed. Pretty cool.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, that's great. I'm gonna get that for sure because we got the Luigi set. And it's been fun, and my kids have loved playing with those things. So, yeah, I'll get this for sure. That'll be fun. Cool.
Mario Golf Super Rush is adding an NES Open Tournament golf outfit as a ranked reward soon, Jeff. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I was paying attention. NES Open Tournament golf outfit is so like the striped red and white one.
Nice. Yeah, that thing.
I do love that.
The whole like giving Mario outfits thing, that thunder was kind of stolen from Odyssey, which is absolutely knocked down the park in terms of like, Mario outfit you can ever possibly even imagine him wearing even from like a technical manual we published 25 years ago. You can wear that.
What a good game. What a good game. Yeah.
What a great game. Oh my God. But hey, that's neat. Last thing here, Tencent and Nintendo will officially release the Nintendo Switch OLED model in mainland China on January 11th. What do you think about that, Jeff?
I think that is a good sign for Nintendo that it's able to get the OLED model out in China so soon after it first was introduced. That's the hard part is still going to be software. Hardware, China is like whatever. Software, they're like, oh, there's a bone in it. We can't let that out in China right now. But China's there's so many people there with a growing middle class. They have done a lot of work to eliminate poverty in China, and that means a lot of people wanting to buy video games. And it's any sort of foundation that you could build in that country to sort of capitalize on that is going to be good. And this is a good news for Nintendo. All these companies need to sort of be in China like this.
All right, Jeff, that's it for the news. We're going to get to questions here, and then after questions, we're going to do our topic. We're talking about our Nintendo New Year's resolutions. If you have a question or you want to talk about our topic and you aren't on our Discord or forgot or just want to send it through a super chat, anyways, send it through a super chat. We will read it on the air. Jeff, let's get going with these questions. From Lausian, Happy New Year's, guys. If GoldenEye goes to both Nintendo and Xbox, will Nintendo improve the emulation and the online for expansion pack? If they don't, would it make the Nintendo Switch Online version feel subpar if the Xbox version is remastered?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I suppose like GoldenEye Remaster is just going to be in Game Pass, right? So it's not like, well, you get it with Nintendo Switch Online, and so it's like a better deal. It's not really that much of a better deal. I mean, yes, technically, dollar-wise, it's a little bit more affordable, I suppose, than $15 a month.
If you were literally just worried about playing GoldenEye, then sure, maybe it's cheaper.
Exactly. The remaster was always supposed to come to both systems back during the 360 days, and that would have been like the Wii, right? That would have been... Yeah, so it's like...
well, I mean, there was a GoldenEye game that came out for the Wii. I forget what exactly that was. That wasn't like...
GoldenEye... Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Like Reloaded or something like that?
Yeah, there's some kind of GoldenEye game for Wii.
Yeah, but then this specific GoldenEye remaster was supposed to, I think, to come to everything, and then it didn't because Nintendo said no. But I think that they will find a way to get this remaster version out on the Switch in some way as well, so that subpar feeling doesn't happen. But they'll also, I think, release the ROM, like I said earlier.
Veggie Toad asks, do you think Nintendo will start facing pressure from third-party devs for a Switch revision with upgraded hardware once we start seeing PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games being phased out? Or do you think they are confident in this cloud model more and more games seem to be adapting to?
I don't think anyone's too comfortable about the cloud model. I think that they think that's a Band-Aid. But I also don't know how much pressure third parties are going to feel like they could put on Nintendo, because Nintendo's going to do what they're going to do. And I mean, the third parties will be like, hey, come on, put this out so we can put out, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an example. And Nintendo will be like, oh, cool. Yeah, we don't care. The games that do come to Switch are doing very well. Indie games are selling very well. And Nintendo's own games are selling incredibly well. And so I think Nintendo's going to want to protect that stuff first and think about what's best for that stuff first. And if what they end up doing in response to that helps third parties, then great. If it doesn't, then so be it. That doesn't mean that they're going to be completely deaf to this stuff, but they are going to mostly going to be focused on what Nintendo does first, and third parties are just not going to be able to put that pressure on them, really.
Jeff, I've been watching a lot of Kingdom Hearts videos again recently. A lot of like ranking Kingdom Hearts bosses, ranking Kingdom Hearts worlds. And I know those games are coming to Switch, but again, those are the cloud versions, and it's like bums me out. Like, man, if those just don't work perfectly, because I'd love to play through some Kingdom Hearts games right now. Right. I tell you what, I'm like thinking about that series again. I know that excites you to no end.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're probably gonna have to talk about it at some point. That'll be good for me.
Alex says, do you think there's a chance in hell Game Freak would add modifiers to their games? They've got there's an audience for Nuzlocke, randomizers, etc. It could be like Dragon Quest XI's draconian things as an early option that then cannot be turned off. Black and White did have an easy/hard mode, but those are version specific as well as locked behind the completion of the game. No, I don't think Game Freak will ever do anything like that. And people love creating their own like challenge playthroughs of the Pokemon games, and like those work well enough, right? Like there's that gym leader challenge, which always sounds fun, where you play the game like you're a gym leader, so you only go around with water type Pokemon, for example, or rock type Pokemon. Even like just minor challenges, like you don't use a starter Pokemon, stuff like that. So I think you kind of have to come up with those modifiers on your own, and you're going to have to continue to play it like that. Jump Matt says, do you think the next game from Kenta Sato's team will be Mario Kart 9, ARMS 2, or something new? Jeff, are they working on a Mario Kart 9 right now for whatever the next Switch thing is, whether it is like the advanced, like the Switch Pro or Switch 2? Because that would be my guess.
I mean, I think they definitely have a Mario Kart in the works. Like what it exactly is, they've had some extra time to figure that out. And I think that they will probably surprise us a little bit. I hope they will. But I think that the plan would continue to be work on that. No rush. Once there's a new system, though, we're going to want that in the first year, the same way we had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in the first year. Let's just do that again. And that'll be the thing we ride for that generation. So I think that's the plan.
I think it's even better. I think they straight up probably, I think they want it for launch. I think they're going to want Mario Kart 9 as a launch for
that would be the best case scenario. You're right.
So that's what I think that team is working on. And like ARMS 2 can maybe do something they do after that. Sure. Benji Toad. No question, but I want to remind Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers to check the pinned messages in the secret Discord channels for Fantasy Critic 2022 information. That's right. Yes, we have the Fantasy Critic is launching again. If you're in our Discord, be sure to check out those pinned messages in the secret Discord channels for our Patreon members and other cool people who have access to that. Jayton says, which Nintendo character would you want to fight or beat up in real life? Jeff, I've been thinking about this question a lot since I happened to read it.
Right. Okay.
It's just such a good question.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jayton. Jeff, do you have an answer?
I mean, for some reason, like the baby Mario and baby Luigi keeps coming to mind. And I don't know why I want to beat up babies. I don't know why.
Now you would leave baby Wario and baby Waluigi alone, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they're perfect. They're perfect little angels. I don't know. I'm like maybe Birdo. I don't know what the stupid hole on its face. Just kind of punch it right in there. But I don't know. You've been thinking about it for so long, Mike. What's your brilliant answer?
Jeff Grubb's me.
All right, let's move on. That hurt my feelings.
Man, I'm funny. People don't appreciate how funny I am.
Oh my God.
I'm
Very hilarious.
Gerber says, while I had my 3DS charged up, I decided to check out the eShop to see if there are any good discounts on the titles I missed. But all the Nintendo stuff was still full price, with titles like WarioWare being 40 euros. Do you think Nintendo will ever discount 3DS software again? No, I think that they will just forget about it before they remember to discount it. They're just going to forget about it until the 3DS eShop goes offline, is what I think is going to happen.
That kind of feels like the right thing, yeah. They only discount things when it's like a concerted effort for a specific event, and they're just probably not going to do that for 3DS again. So I think you're right.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Like when I wanted to play Dragon Quest 8, it was still relatively. I think it was still like $40 or something on there. I was like, oh, great. I guess I'll just buy an even more expensive version of it online, because what the heck? At least then I'll own it for reals. Nintendo Bro asks, will Chris Pratt's Mario be better or worse than other M's Samus? I mean, was Samus's voice acting necessarily that bad in that game? You played it recently. I mean, it's not very good, but
it's not good. But it's not the problem that I didn't have a problem with that.
Problem.
No.
Not the problem. So I will say that it'll be worse. I say it'll be worse than other. Is my answer there. Turbo Sean says, not a question, but a follow-up to one from a few weeks ago. I decided to bite the bullet and buy a DSi XL for playing DS games. Shockingly, for whatever reason, there's some brand new in-the-box European models floating around eBay and Amazon right now for just above the original MSRP. I got mine last week, installed Homebrew, loaded up an SD card games, and holy IPS screens, Batman. The difference in clarity and overall quality over my Nintendo 3DS XL was immediately noticeable. The D-pad is also in a much more comfortable position since there's obviously no circle pad in the way. If any other Nintendogs out there looking for the best way to play DS games, this is it.
I wonder if they're ever gonna those like Chinese console manufacturers are ever gonna try to do like a DS clone. I wonder if they'll ever get around to that. It feels like maybe if that's just too specific for them, and maybe they wouldn't want to do that. But hey, I don't know.
I need to either find my DSi XL or get a new one for playing like DS games. It's you can kind of get away with it on the 3DS, but it's not great doing it on there, so it would be good.
I guess they aren't that expensive. That's
probably not.
That's strange, like because like the 3DS is so expensive still, but I guess that makes some sense. Okay, fair enough.
I think a lot of people are just like, well, why just get a 3DS, right? But
right.
If you want to play DS games, and to be clear, they also play Game Boy Advance games, which are great. So, and the Keywork has a question here. Outside of the Mario family of characters, which other Nintendo IP would make an amazing TV series or film? Jeff, remember before Star Fox Zero was coming out, they had like a really like intense marketing campaign for that, and they made those kind of interesting sort of 3D but like cel shaded cartoons for that. Those actually looked pretty cool. There was like nothing wrong with those.
Yeah, I was trying to like read along with the question. Is this the one that came in from the Discord or something late?
Yeah, sorry, this one's a Discord, so I didn't throw it in there. So you pay attention.
Yeah, I
had
to pay attention. Right, exactly. That's just how hard that is for me, Mike.
Yeah, I'll say it again for you. Outside of the Mario family characters, which other Nintendo IP would make an amazing TV series or film?
Yeah, so I thought that was it. So I continue to love the Pikmin shorts, and whenever I remember that they exist, I put them on, and my kids adore them. There's not that much of them; like there's just a few episodes, but they were directed by Miyamoto. Like I remember, like famously, like he did the storyboarding in Swapnote or whatever it was, whatever the app was for the 3DS.
Yeah.
And it's they're incredible. They're super fun. They are Minions before the Minions. It's super well done, and I think that they could probably get away with a full like movie where even like if the Pikmin never talk, that's okay. You could probably just put some characters around them and stuff like that, and that'd be fun. I also think that the Yoshi and Poochie shorts are very good. And I
That's
think
Mario
that,
Family.
yeah, and I think the yes, is that what that is? Okay, so and I think that would be they should make a cartoon just with those
I think
characters.
that's disqualified from the question. Jeff.
Okay, well, excuse me, princess. So,
No, yeah,
so that other answer there is Zelda, of course, because
Yeah.
they could just come bring back "Excuse me, princess." So there you go.
Yeah, Rachel said Fire Emblem, and that certainly makes sense.
Yeah,
Like you could do that thing where they do in Japan, where they just make like the OVA based on something, like they did for like Persona 4, right? We just take the game and you turn it into a like a 1 or 2 season anime, and there you go.
Yep.
You could just do that with any of the Fire Emblem games, and it'll
Yes,
work
you could.
fine. You just bring back all those voice actors. All right, Jeff. That is it. 4 questions. We're going to talk about our Nintendo's New Year's resolutions now. Jeff, what is your Nintendo New Year's resolution?
Yeah, this one's tough because it's like Nintendo stuff. I'm always sort of swamped in, so I never feel like I missed something. I suppose that it would be go back and play the Mother series, go back and play Earthbound. I enjoyed what I played of Earthbound when I did so while stoned, and I'm like, and then I had kids. It's like right when I was about to have kids, that happened, and I stopped doing Colorado Nights, and I'm like, oh, but that seemed like the best way to play that game. So maybe I'll just wait until I like that's something I could do as a hobby again. And that hasn't really ever come back around. So I think I should just play it like a regular human and enjoy it that way. And so I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going to get like the ideal ROM set or whatever, put it on one of my devices, and play through all of those games, and including Mother 3 and with the English translation. That's my resolution, is to finally catch up on Earthbound.
Yeah, I do. I've started Earthbound so many times, and I always want to play it. Like when it finally does, or if it does come on Switch, I'll give it another go at least. But my somewhat related resolution is to actually play Golden Sun. I know there's at least one of our fans keeps bugging us about playing it, so
I love Golden Sun.
I will finally get to that. And plus, especially since I have the Analog Pocket, that'll be a fun way to play Golden Sun 1 at least. No promises on 2, but I'll play Golden Sun 1 and see what I think about that. So that'll be my big one. All right, Jeff, before we get to that, we had a couple users here completely destroying our flow here and adding new questions to the Discord right now. So let's get to more questions. Then we'll see what our community thinks about this. And next time I'm cutting it off at a certain point. You can't just send questions 42 minutes after the show ends. Nick Turbo and Skititles. That's Skititles says, "Hey Jeff, American McGee is supposedly trying to get funding for another Alice game. He hints that he's had 2 interested parties. Have you heard anything about that?"
I have not, but I guess I'm not too surprised. It's something like you could just be like, "Hey, American McGee's Alice is back," and probably get some funding there. So I don't know. Maybe Tencent will buy it, and it will be China's America's McGee's Alice.
China's American McGee's Alice. Nick Turbo asks, if the next Nintendo console is a Switch 2, will the cartridges be shaped different, like the 3DS cartridges, so they don't work on the OG Switch?
Are they saying will the Switch 2 have like a little tab on the cards?
Yeah, like 3DS. Yeah, so it just doesn't fit into the old Switch.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll do something like that. It depends on like what their plan is. I think there's a chance that they might still support Switch to some extent for a few more years beyond what we're thinking. But also, yeah, that makes sense. Also, it's a pet peeve of mine. They aren't cartridges, everybody. These are not cartridges. Cartridges have their own sort of silicon in them that make them part of the overall unit. These are cards. They are just flash memory cards. They are not cartridges.
All right, Veggie Toad has a question for the show. What are the community's Nintendo New Year's resolutions? I'm so glad you asked, actually. So, starting with VJ Incoming says, my Nintendo-related New Year's resolution is to somehow play Splatoon 3 more than I did Splatoon 2. My Switch says I put over 700 hours into Splatoon 2, so I think I've got my work hit out for me.
Let's do it. Let's make a squad. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get hard. I want to get hard into Splatoon 3, man. It's going to be so much fun. I'm excited. Gigi64 says, I think 2022 will finally be the year I beat Super Mario Brothers front to back. No warps, no save states, and no rewinds. Yes,
about time to do it.
I am a fake gamer. You're not fake, man. It's all right. Look, we all used those warps. They were right there.
Yeah, so you didn't like. Yeah, as a kid, you're like, what is that? Like, Because as a kid, you're like, man, I wish I could get more games. And it's like, there is more game in here that I just skipped over every single time I played it because I thought the whole point was to get to the end instead of enjoy myself playing the game. God, kids are so fucking stupid. I'm so stupid.
You know, it's always the kids. That's adults. I mean, we enjoy, we like playing games because they give us a microcosm world in which we can have accomplishments, and being the game is an accomplishment. So even like when we like the game gives us a way to like advance further or to quote unquote cheat, but like we feel like our brains like
there's
rewarding us.
Definitely a dopamine thing happening there. 100%. I will say when
game.
Going back and 100%ing Super Mario Brothers was like, oh, this is actually way more enjoyable. I should do this every time. So although now when I go back I do warps a lot, and you're right, it's still fun.
Turbo Sean says, my Nintendo resolution this year is to get back to peak performance in Mario Kart 8 so I can confidently and decisively kick Jeff and Nintendo Bros' asses the next time we play. Also, if New Year's Eve was any indication, I need to step up my Mario Party game because I'll be damned if we let Jeff win another one of those. Jeff, you won? That can't be allowed.
I won, Mike, because you know why? Because you weren't there to mess up my flow. You weren't there to like to ruin the vibes or anything. So yeah, of course I won.
Oh, I bring the best vibes.
I know.
People love
for
my
yourself
vibes.
and no one else. Yeah.
I got my vibes.
Okay.
Romham says, my resolution is to play Golden Sun this year and keep bugging Mike to play it. That's right. It's Romham who keeps bugging me. I usually go back to it about once a year, but didn't end up getting to it in 2021. Don't worry, Romham. I will play Golden Sun for you, not for myself. I wonder how much that cartridge costs. I'm sure it's expensive.
Probably pretty spendy.
I want it. I need it. Beef Hammer says, I'm hoping to finish off my 3DS backlog since I'm probably one of the few people still regularly using it. Mostly consists of the DS Castlevania games, some Dragon Quest games, and Persona Q2. Man, Persona Q2. I played Persona Q, the first one, and enjoyed it enough, but was not interested in a Persona Q2. I was also thrown off that they didn't bother doing the English voice acting for Q2. I don't know why that bothers me, but it is like, I know how those characters sound. I played all of those games. And it also just like is basically their way of saying, yeah, we're not investing as much in this one. So why should I invest in it, right? So there. Bonus general game resolution from Beef Hammer says, I want to kill Chaos this year. Well, I'll tell you what. There will be a way for you to do that. Jeff, one of the like one of the boss fights you can do in Final Fantasy 14 that you can queue up for is to fight a boss named Chaos.
Oh,
and every time I get into it, everybody just immediately starts screaming, Chaos! I want to kill Chaos! Yeah,
Chaos.
It's all, yeah. It sure is something. Well, what are the odds, real quick, what are the odds that Final Fantasy Origins Stranger in Paradise is my game of the year? Because that would be funny.
They're not zero. I'll say that right now. The odds are not zero.
How about in my top 10?
Yes, I think there's a very good chance if it's like dumb in a really fun way, it'll be probably be a good time. If it's just bad and miserable, then yeah, of course. Okay, yeah.
Wildfire Alex says, my Nintendo resolution for the year is to stop thinking that Nintendo will announce a release date for Metroid Prime 4, since I always get my hopes up each year.
Stop doing that.
Immediately depressed at the end of it. I need to expunge that title from my mind, because as far as I'm concerned, it no longer exists. Jeff, is Metroid Prime 4 a Switch 2 game now?
I mean, I would not be surprised at all if that was the case. It'd be a Switch/Switch 2 like launch game, I think, is kind of how that might go. But I don't know. I mean, it just depends on like what their plans are for Switch 2, which just still feels weirdly far away, and yet we kind of feels like we should be starting to talk about it soon, but no one wants to talk about it because of the Switch Pro rumors getting like burning us off for so long. So yeah, I don't know. My bet right now would be on cross-gen launch game.
Cross-gen launch game. Okay. I like it. Then from Winnie featuring Dante from Devil May Cry, my resolution is to play more 3DS games. Etrian Odyssey was on sale over the holiday, and I've heard good things. I'm looking forward to seeing if it's a prequel to Mario. Wait, what? Why would Etrian Odyssey? Oh, Odyssey. Yeah, I get it now. I figured it out. Also, maybe play more Nintendo Switch Online games so I can feel better paying for it. Yeah, there's a bit of that here. People going back to 3DS. I think for a while the 3DS was like the Toy Story 2 thing. Like, I don't want to play with you anymore thing, because we had our
very much
shiny new Switches. But now it's been long enough. It's like, no, going back to 3DS is fun. And
those games, a lot of those games aren't like, we're getting all the Wii U games ported. A lot of the 3DS games will not get ported. It's just too much work. So I mean, go back and play Link Between Worlds. Like right there, you got one of the best games you can play ever.
one that I would really like to play again. Actually,
same
I
here.
think like that game was fantastic, and I really did only play through it the one time. So I would absolutely. That's very high on my list. Benji says, my 2022 Nintendo New Year resolution, or it says Nintendo year resolution. He combined Nintendo and new into an abomination of a word. His Nintendo year resolution is to nuzlocke every Pokemon game. This came up before. I don't know what nuzlocking means, but apparently it's some kind of player-induced challenge on Pokemon, Jeff. Maybe we should make you nuzlocke.
Do you know? Do you understand the rules of nuzlocking? I have a pretty decent understanding. You want me to explain it real quick?
Do?
Yeah, so it's when you
please.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure that it's you have to use the first Pokemon, like the first Pokemon that you come across and capture. Those are the ones you have to use, and then if they die, it's like permadeath. I'm sure I'm getting some specifics wrong there, and I'm sure I'm missing some important elements. That's the general idea, I think.
Do people like try to avoid like the Bidoofs and like Rattata so they don't have to like capture them early on?
I think they try, but it's really hard, right? Because it's because it's random battles that you can't
go through the grass a little bit. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Moonlight 150 says, for my resolution, my Switch backlog is probably the most egregious out of all the consoles, especially when it comes to games I started, put a couple hours in, and then never touched again, like Luigi's Mansion 3 and Tropical Freeze. This year, I hope to change that and actually make a dent into my backlog list by finishing these games and more. I believe in you, Moonlight. You can do it. Alex says, my resolution in general was to reduce my backlog and finish more games for 2022. The Switch is hopefully going to be where I do a lot of that. Switch tends to be my left behind console, so I've got loads of RPGs I never finished. Never beat Odyssey. Mario games take me a while to really get into. And I've never got some unopened games. Oh, and I've even got some unopened games I need to check out, like the Xenoblade Remaster and Metroid Dread. It'll be a busy year for new and old games, but I'm hoping to find as much time for it as I can. Schwa218 says, my New Year's resolution is to finish more mainline Nintendo games. It's sad to say the only Nintendo games I beat are Mario Bros. 3, Ocarina of Time, Bowser's Fury, and Breath of the Wild. I get 83%. I get through 80% of almost all other Nintendo games and lose momentum or have to put it down for a bit and never return. I'm 70% through Metroid Dread and I'm determined to beat it in 2022. Schwa, I believe in you as well. In fact, Schwa, I believe in you more than Alex. Alex, what do you think about that? You can start fighting for my love now. Maybe Alex can win me back. Benji Toad says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to play more Nintendo games. With the PlayStation 5 and Series X in their launch years, and as someone who isn't a big Metroid fan, there wasn't much to entice me to turn on my Switch. And now I've become such a performance snob with 60 plus FPS being so prominent on the next-gen consoles that the portability argument for third-party games doesn't fly as much as it used to. That being said, after I beat Halo Infinite, I've been playing catch-up on games I missed over the years on handhelds, including Pokemon Conquest, Final Fantasy 6 Advance. Final Fantasy 6 Advance is great. Oh, I'm really tempted to play Final Fantasy 6 Advance on my Analog Pocket. Pixel Remaster be damned. It goes on. And I still have others like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Red and Blue, and Fire Emblem Sacred Stones on the shortlist. I'm hoping to roll that momentum into Pokemon Legends Arceus and go from there. Jayton says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to go back to games I left partway through, games like Xenoblade 2, Luigi's Mansion, and Hollow Knight. So there's a lot of that. A lot of people have games that they kind of got halfway through and then stopped playing. Normally, Jeff, when I do that, unless it's like a matter of 10 years later, I'm not going to get back to the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's guilt associated with it where it's like, oh, I want to start pick it back up, but then it's like, oh yeah, I might not remember everything, and then should I go back and start from the beginning? No way. There's no way I want to do that. So am I going to play this? Yes. And then that just goes in my head for like 30 seconds, and then I try to put it out of my mind because it's making me feel bad. So that's how I approach it, which isn't good or healthy. No one do it. No one be like me. But yeah, I'm the same way. I kind of have to put more time between me and the game.
Even Luigi's Mansion 3, a game that I love, like it does have a start to it that I enjoyed the first time because it was setting up a lot of things in the atmosphere that I don't necessarily like. I wouldn't look super forward to playing that part of it again if I restarted.
Agreed.
Jumpmat says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to get into a new Nintendo franchise. I just played through the 2D Metroid series last year and want to find another franchise I missed out on. Jumpman, have you ever tried Star Tropics?
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say Star Tropics.
That should be everyone's New Year's resolutions to play through Star Tropics 1 and 2 on your.
This one's not like Star Tropics in that like in terms of it being like a sleeper Nintendo series. But if you haven't played it, go play the Punch Out games. Find a Punch Out game to play.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Mitsaka, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to get into turn-based games. My first real encounter with them was with Persona, and then Yakuza Like a Dragon was the first one I really got into. It made me curious to try out games like Dragon Quest XI on the Switch. I tell you what, if
Dragon
you're
Quest
curious
11 's a
about
good
those
one.
games, Dragon Quest XI is probably the best one you can play on your Switch.
I played
right
about
now.
10 hours of Dragon Quest 11, which is a lot for me for a JRPG.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. It's very good. I just, I'm almost never going to stick with one of those games. That's not about the games. It's about me. Dragon Quest 11 is very good. KOTOR, pretty affordable and a great game. It's not super turn-based. I mean, it's menu-based. It's menu-driven. It's right. It's more timer-based, but for all intents and purposes, it is a turn-based game, and it's very good. And I've been playing that. Mike just beat it, and I'm playing on the Switch now. It's a good Switch port. It runs at 60 frames per second, so maybe go for that.
Some crashes is the only issue with it, but it saves a lot, and you can save a lot, so it's not.
Yes, you can save.
problem.
Yeah, just save all the time. Absolutely. I was going to talk about it in thanks, but I'll just say I've been addicted to Pazak and losing all my money, Mike. So I've been saving and safe scumming and trying to.
I've been safe scumming Pazak like crazy, Jeff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like that's almost what I've been playing instead of KOTOR is just Pazak. So I'm like I need to stop this, but it's sort of addictive.
Anderson64 says, Happy New Year, friends. My resolution is to actually finish the games I buy on Switch. Feels like this might be a tough year to clear out the backlog, but I want to feel good about beating games. Good luck, Anderson.
Good luck.
Sorry, Jeff. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say good luck. I was just echoing what you were saying not to you, to them.
Input. Thank you for that input, Jeff.
Well, I didn't think you were going to stop the show to put me on the spot. We're like, Jeff, do you have something smart to say? I was just trying to be participatory.
Shut the fuck up. Trainers Basketball is next, and we're very interested to hear from him. Yeah. He says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to actually stick to Ring Fit Adventure. I'd like to get to a gym, but the whole plague thing going around has made me think that might not be the best idea at the moment. Yeah. I'll tell you what.
That's a really, Crandris, this is a good answer. I'll do it with you too. If you want, maybe we could start a Ring Fit channel in the Discord and
let's start a Ring Fit show. Let's keep each other honest with Ring Fit. Yeah,
keep each other honest. Let's do it. Crandris, you're in charge, and definitely at me in there, and I will start doing it too.
Yeah, I need to find my copy of that somewhere.
I just I got the TV set up in the front room again. Now there's space to do that. I'll hook up the Switch there and just do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Gerbear says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to finally beat Ocarina of Time. I actually tried to start it over the Christmas break, but it keeps crashing on my 3DS, which is very annoying as it's a legit copy of the game. Well, Jeff, turn off your phone. Haha.
Sorry, my bad.
You're not forgiven.
Rachel says she's into the Ring Fit thing, and Christian says he'll set it up.
Cool. I have actually felt a bit of an urge to replay Ocarina of Time myself because the one podcast I like, the Soundtrack Show, released its third episode just talking about Ocarina of Time's music, and it keeps putting me in the mood for that. And
the video game soundtrack show is it?
No, it's called the Soundtrack Show, and he mostly does movies, but sometimes he does video games.
I guess I like movie soundtracks too, so that's good too. All right, I'm gonna download this.
Yeah, it's a great podcast. He's done a lot of good stuff, but he did an episode on the first Legend of Zelda, and then he did a 3-parter on Ocarina of Time. And he's like a composer. Again, he worked at LucasArts back in the day. So it's fantastic. He's done episodes on Superman and Star Wars, awesome. All the big hits, the Man with No Name trilogy, even lots of really good stuff, Lord of the Rings, so on and so forth. But yeah, I kind of want to play Ocarina of Time again, but I don't know if I want to play the Nintendo Switch Online version. Is sort of my concern. Have they improved that at all yet, or is it still just kind of what it is?
My understanding was they improved it a little bit in the early days there. I think that it's I would just say start playing it on there, and I bet you won't notice most of the issues.
Yeah, but again, if I have my 3DS, maybe I'll just go back and play that one again.
Well, the 3DS version would, yes, that's right. That's what I did, honestly. I mean, that's legit what I did. I bought a 3DS and hacked it up, and so I have everything kind of installed on there, and yeah, I started playing that on there, yeah.
Nintendo Bro says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to convince my wife that the expansion pack family plan is actually worth the upgrade from my entry-level single profile plan. I got her a Switch Lite and Animal Crossing for Christmas, and she is loving it. I don't think it'll be very difficult for me to convince her, but I am hoping Nintendo has made it worth it for me when I do. Yeah, you can convince her. Show her all those fantastic Sega Genesis games, man. I keep just playing those.
Hey, forgiveness is better than permission. Just go for it.
There you go.
Just do it.
Dang. Charles says, my resolution is to go back and experience some Switch games from the past 2 years. I think I mentioned before that for about 2 years, I had some nerd damage and struggled to play many games. However, as I am better now, I want to go back and find some gems I missed out on, especially some smaller indie games. For example, I haven't tried Hades, yeah. Play Hades.
Play Hades.
Play Celeste. We're talking about some of the smaller indie games for sure. If you missed the King Knight DLC that came out for Shovel Knight, try that one out. Lots of good stuff there. The Messenger, if you're not playing the Messenger, that's fantastic. Napper says, my resolution is to play through the mainline Pokemon games on the DS. I'm hoping they're as good as their OSTs. I was never a giant Diamond and Pearl fan, Napper, but I loved Black and White. Black and White are maybe my favorite. They're definitely my favorite of like anything outside of the first two. Black and White's fantastic. I'm kind of hoping we get those remakes sooner rather than later. Like, because Black and White ran basically on the same engine as Diamond and Pearl anyway, so they could just reuse what they did for that to remake Black and White. Why the hell not? And have that come out in 2 years. Like, we shouldn't have to wait as long for Black and White as we did for the Diamond and Pearl remakes, is what I'm saying. Screaming Madden says, Happy New Year to you, messy Game Boys. Well, poor Screaming Madden, Jeff. He had a death in the family this week. I hope he's doing okay.
Sorry to hear about that. Yep.
Yeah. He says, my Nintendo New Year resolution is to finally beat an Advance Wars title. I played the old games on Game Boy Advance and DS, but never beat them. But with Reboot Camp on the way, it feels like a perfect time to beat those classics. Yeah, I never beat those campaigns either. So with the Reboot Camp, I'm looking forward to doing that as well.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be exciting. And when it comes out, let's not just play the campaigns. We should also set up some multiplayer and everyone kind of play. We could do like 4-player modes and stuff. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. That'll be a treat after we lose 100 pounds from Ring Fit Adventure.
Sounds good.
Lossian says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to take my DS with the broken hinge and make it into a Game Boy macro. I like that.
There you go. Ingenuity.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. I'm here for you.
I'm mad
I'm just so sorry you sound so stupid all the time.
I'm mad that you helped me before I could ask for help, because I was about to. It would have made it a little bit better, but now I feel like a child. Keywork says, my resolution this year, Nintendo-wise, is to play my Switch more. Outside of Metroid and New Pokemon Snap, it's Static Collected Dust. With all the stuff coming out this year, I feel this will be easy to accomplish. Jeff, there's a bit of that, I think, this year with people just kind of not playing the Switch as much as they maybe did some past few years. So we weren't quite as many releases, and we had the shiny new consoles. So I don't think that was super unusual here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, here's the last one here from Skitizzles. I hope I'm saying that right. Skitiddle says, my Nintendo New Year's resolution is to go into the Mario movie with an open mind. Crisp rat can't get me down. I like that. That's how
that's the way to be.
Movie the same way.
Yeah, and and I'm not even down on it. I just continue to think it's weird, but that doesn't mean like I can't enjoy the movie. I'm really hopeful that I'm gonna enjoy the movie.
Absolutely. Jeff, I think we have a couple super chats. I don't know if they're related to the resolutions or the questions, but do you want to read those?
I got them right here, so I could take a look and let you know. Let's see here. Let's see. First one's from Isaac Spencer. Woof woof. Thanks for the great show. My Nintendo New Year resolution is to continue to hope for hopeless things. Pikmin 4 and a Mother 3 localization. Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. We're like, hey, maybe we'll get another F-Zero and all this. At certain points, like, they give us enough hope with stuff like Advance Wars Reboot Camp that it's like, nothing seems out of the realm of possibility, and yet still these things do feel hopeless. I know what you mean.
I mean, with Pikmin 4 and Mother 3 localization, those things are going to happen someday. Like, they have to. I just don't know if it's a matter of, like, a year or 10 years.
Yeah, but good point.
Someday, like, those things will happen. They will get to it. I mean, why not? What else, Jeff?
Pixel Champion, when do you think the Switch's successor might launch?
I think fall 2023 is probably the earliest, right?
Yeah, so let's say March 2024.
Maybe March 2023 is March 2023 seems too early. So I say
March 2024.
Fall 2023 is the earliest, and then maybe March 2024 is more realistic.
Because let's think it out. So right now we just got the OLED. This year, 2022, we almost certainly get the OLED Lite, right? We're going to get the Lite version of the OLED. That gets us all the way through 2022. And we still haven't gotten like a hardware upgrade. Maybe at that point they do I feel like they announce. That means they announce like E3 2023, or probably not E3. They don't typically announce hardware at E3, but in early 2023 they could start talking about it coming, and then plan to launch it in March 2024. That seems about right to me.
I don't know. I keep thinking I am more on board holiday 2023 instead of early 2024.
That's fine. I mean, that's like a 6-month range right there. Like somewhere in there is fine. Yeah,
somewhere around.
Holiday 2023 actually, based on where we're at right now, and them probably not having a Switch Pro, that does make sense. You're right. That's like a slightly less painful wait for not just for us, but for developers and everyone else, and just trying to get like games out and have stuff make sense. And yeah, I'll go with you on that.
All right, then. Thank you, everybody, for contributing this week. Next week's topic, we're going to talk about what is your most disappointing Nintendo game. So, Nintendo game that came out, you're excited for, you had some level of expectation for, and it just did not hit with you. So, we're going a bit more negative next week. Let's do it. Oh, we had a new super chat coming just now. Jeff, why don't you read that?
Yes, it did, from Radu Pericol Tiganas. And I found out Pericol is Romanian for danger, so his middle name is Danger. It's
very cool.
It's a joke, apparently. Not his real name. His real name is Radu. My 2022 New Year's resolution is to go back and finish Breath of the Wild. It is pretty amazing to play at 60 frames per second. Gotta say, hides in dark corner.
Well,
right,
we can't. We can't condone this, or we're going to be thrown into solitary confinement. So we better move on.
But it sounds amazing.
I'm glad you're having fun. I'm glad you're having fun. Yeah. How about that? All right. So yes, next week, most disappointing Nintendo game. Jeff, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, so I mentioned KOTOR, definitely playing a lot of that. I'm very much enjoying. That game is I think for a new audience, they need to do the remake. That's fine. It totally makes sense. But if you're someone who was there at the time and going back to replay it, it still hits all the notes for me. And I'm very happy with that game. And then I played Mario Party Superstars on New Year's Eve, and I was just going to say, like, getting that win, it is so random. Like, I was not in the lead, but I got to the point where it's like you could steal a star from someone, and I was just sort of spamming the A button, and I hit random, and it took a star from Sean, who did not have the most stars. So if I was like making the decision, I would not have taken it from him. But then at the end, when it was counting up the stars, giving the bonus stars, I think I beat him by 1 star. So it was like that was a defining moment, and it enabled me to win. But it was just it was an accident and randomness and stuff like that, and it's very indicative of what Mario Party is. But it was a good time. Yeah. I was complaining about how I feel like I almost never win a mini game, and I won a couple. And then Emmy came to sit on my lap, and we were doing the button mashing one where like you have to wind up the thing and see whose would go the further. And mine went further by like a really long way. So it's like I know that feels like a pretty good skill I have, even when I have a kid sitting on my lap. So I really embarrassed them. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
I'm glad.
It was a good time.
I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah.
Well, I just went after that short experiment with Death's Door. Did you try to play Death's Door anymore, or did I scare you off of it?
I purchased it, Mike, but yeah, I kind of hear you talk about it. It was like, I think I'm gonna let Mike continue to take the heat on this one for now.
Yeah, well, I did what people asked, and I played through the first boss, and I'm done with it. It's fine. There's nothing like super wrong with the game. It's just I don't know. It's like it's missing something to keep me interested. But after I fell off it, I went back to what I was doing before that and just playing more Sega Genesis games on the Nintendo Switch online thing, and was really having fun with that. I played through Shinobi 3 again, which is was just definitely the best Genesis game that I didn't play back when I had a Genesis game. I can't believe how good Shinobi 3 is. Everyone should play that if you never have. Then I played through Streets of Rage 2 again, because why the hell not? That's also one of the best Genesis games ever. One of the best games ever. So yeah, and I think at this point I basically have played through all the Genesis games on there that I really want to right now. So I'm like kind of like, man, I hope they add some more of those pretty soon, because I want to keep playing Genesis games. I've been a big Genesis kick.
Yeah, they did drop those games that they announced, the new ones, right, already?
Yes. Yeah, Dynamite Heady and Thunder Force 2. I went Thunder Force 3 or 4. Those would be better than 2. I'd like to play those ones.
Yeah, those got to come. If Thunder Force 2 is there, Thunder Force 3 and 4 should come.
Great, I can play these things on my modded Genesis Mini right now, or even on Genesis
Switch is a great way to play old games, though.
Well, I even also have the Genesis collection on Switch that has more Genesis games too. But I don't know, like right now, like I want to play Nintendo Switch online game. So that's
Sosuke in chat is trying to steal the valor of Turbo Sean, saying that he got second, but no, he was definitely last.
Wow.
It's very fun.
Wow.
He's like, I was second, and everyone's like, no, you weren't. A good time.
Jeff, I'm going to be picking the winners for my giveaways here later today. You should do the same. So if you're listening to this live,
give me your methodology so that we can keep it consistent. So it's not some weird thing where it's like, if I do pick it in a way and you pick it a different way, and they're like, well, in Mike's thing, he did it this way. So just tell me what methodology you use.
Yeah, I'm just going to go and do the thing that shows me everybody who.
Yeah, obviously, and then do a random number generator and then.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah. If I just close my eyes and do that, maybe that's not quite random enough. But yeah, I don't know. Jeff,
No, because
figure
it's
out
gonna
some
be
way
more
to
than one
randomize it.
page. Like you kind of have to, yeah.
Yeah, I'll figure it out when I get there. But
Okay.
I trust you to figure out a way to randomly pick a winner.
Well,
from
yeah,
those.
fair enough. Okay, yeah. I'll do it.
Yeah, so-
Maybe I should be the one to figure it out. All right, sounds good. 'Cause sounds
Oh,
like you were just
okay,
gonna.
yeah,
sounds like
right,
you were
I'm
just gonna be like, whatever.
Well, yeah, I'll pick one randomly somehow. I'm not like, look, I'm not gonna write them all down and put them in a hat.
No, of course not. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Winners will be picked randomly. If you're listening live right now, you probably still have time to get in there and register, enter the contest if you want to. I was like, what's the word? If you're listening to this recorded, you may have missed your chance. And we'll reach out to the winners on Discord as well.
No purchase necessary.
No purchase necessary. All right, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think that does it for this week.
I hit the button, Mike.
We did it. We're winners. Thank you for listening to Last of the Nintendogs. We'll be back on Friday with GamesBeat Decides. It's going to be our Game of the Year show, I believe. So fun stuff will be happening there. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Tokoto. Jeff, what's up with you?
I'm at Jeff Grubb on Twitter. Mike's right. We'll be starting our 2-week Game of the Year thing on GamesBeat Decides this Friday. The community vote. If you're listening to this, you're in the community. You could vote. Go to the Discord. There's some pen stuff, maybe in like the server news thing, to vote in the community game of the year. We're down to the semifinals there, I think, or pretty close anyhow. Yeah, there's 8 games left, so we're in the great 8.
Fun.
Go vote. That stuff, I'll read that stuff off. We'll have Mike guess this week, and then that means the final 4 will be next week, and then we'll have the final 2 after that.
My guess is last week.
I think it'll be perfect this week as well. All right, everybody. Goodbye. See you soon.
Oh, it's perfect.
Cruising style. Woof woof.